Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, Fountain Pen Therapy. Well, this is perhaps the first of a series of reviews that you will be seeing on my channel in the next couple of weeks while I'm away on vacation to Italy, France, and Spain. Part of that trip will be in Rome, part of it will be in Naples, part of it will be in Florence. And in those three cities, I will hopefully get to see some fountain pen stores that I've been dying to see in person, if you will. Also set up what I believe is going to be just a great meeting with Nino Marino of Delta. He's going to show me around the Delta factory. I'm looking forward to that in Naples. So what do we got for you today? Well, you know what? We've got another Chinese pelican, folks. Stay tuned. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Another Chinese pelican, folks. Admok M400. I've seen it referred to as Admok J400. And as I mentioned in my recap, I don't believe there is a difference between the two. Just that at least one is a little more subtle than the other one. But even in the title, on AliExpress, with one vendor in any event, there's reference to pelican. So clearly nobody's trying to hide anything here. It's certainly an imitation of the M400, that is the Pelican M400. This is what the pen came in. It came in with this kind of rubberized leather sleeve for the pen. This plastic box, well protected. When I opened that up, they were kind enough to provide a wrench, which is more than Moonman or Majon did for one of their pens. I had to buy it separately. Hongdian, depending on what you buy and from whom you buy, you may or may not get the wrench. And here's the pen. So let's put this box away along with the wrench. Here's the pen, folks. Now, unfortunately, I do not own an M400, so it's going to be, I would have loved to have been able to do a real comparison, but I do own other Pelicans, and we will do a comparison eventually. But if you will permit, I will take the most modern version of a Pelican that I have, and not because, obviously the size is not comparable, but just to compare some of its features, if you will. First of all, this is the Pelican M1000. So in terms of girth and length, etc., you can't compare. But as you will see, the clips compare really nicely. The only difference is that on the real thing, this is kind of a pelican beak. You could see the two eyeballs, I guess, of the pelican face. There's no eyeballs that I can see clearly anyway on the Admok, but you can definitely see the similarity in the clip, okay? And also the finial. The design of the top finial is also very similar, but in one case, in the Admok, you get kind of a wave with a bird of some sort, I would say. And in the other one, of course, you get the pelican and but otherwise you could definitely see the similarities. In terms of the band, I don't know what the M400 looks like, but again, it's composed of center band anyway, composed of a small ring and a bigger one where you see the inscription of the name of the pen. The bottom part has, at least on this M1000, has 2 rings. This one has 1. I'm not sure whether or not the M400 has 2. Okay, the real M400. So there you have it. So definitely the similarities are there. Again, I repeat that in the center you see Admok Ingenuity. China, boy, they're really rubbing it in, aren't they? The nice resin. It's got some chatoyancy. Perhaps not as deep as some of the Galaxy, Galaxy resin that we've seen, but it's there, at least when you look at it at this side of things. But there you have it. We'll take a look at the size in just a few seconds. In terms of how many turns, that's 1. So 1 turn, and perhaps even less. Let me just redo that. Or was it already uncapped? So that's 1. So it's 1. And of course, this pen has doesn't have a number 6 size nib. It has a number 5 size nib. As you can see, it's a Schmidt. I love these Schmidt nibs. I spilled some ink there. They've become some of my favorites. This is a bold Schmidt nib. Very nice. Fits nicely. It's a smallish pen. Obviously, it's the 400. But fits really nice in my hands, very comfortable. Does it post? This is a piston filler, but the posting is very, very comfortable. Doesn't backweight the pen at all, not in the least. That section has a little bit of a flare, and the threads here are very, very smooth, so you can hold the pen a little higher up, a little lower down, or right down to the flare. Not a problem. Very, very comfortable, folks. Nice weight, very comfortable. And as I mentioned, this is a piston filler. No ink window. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't see that resin as being transparent in any way, so you don't get to see the ink. But there you have it. That's the outside of the pen. It's got a nice feel. I got to tell you, very nice feel. And we'll see how that nib writes in just a few minutes. There you have it. That's it for the pen inside and out. So we'll take a look at some other pens and let's compare. Okay? So here's the comparison. Here are the pens that I've chosen. Okay. First of all, let me just get my pointer here. Okay, that's the Pelikan M1000 that we just saw, and of course, that 1000 is just an absolutely huge pen. Here you have the Admok, what I call the Admok Duofold, because it does kind of copy the Duofold. You could see that the chatoyancy on this Galaxy is a lot nicer than that Admok M400, the subject pen. It has a little more swirl, a little more depth. This is the Admok M800, which is supposed to mimic, of course, the M800. And you can see that it's quite bigger than the rest. This is an older M200, if you will, and this is a vintage M140. So, or N140, I believe they refer it to, or simply the 140, I forget now. So there you have the comparison of the pens capped. Now here are the pens capped. So you can see that the Admok M400 is bigger than the 140, but it's almost, it's smaller than the M200 uncapped, just because I've got a feeling that the real Pelikan nib is probably a lot bigger than this Schmidt number 5 nib. Here you can see the Admok M800 with the number 6 size Schmidt, Same thing here with the Admok dual fold that I call. And of course, you've got that beautiful, huge nib on the M1000. So those are the pens uncapped and unposted. And here are the pens posted. So as you can see, the subject pen, the Admok, is approximately the same size as that M200. And again, I think the nib might make a difference, but substantially smaller than the M800 to be expected, and smaller than the rest. And this Admok dufold doesn't really post nicely in any event. So there you have the pen comparison, pen and size comparison. We'll take a look at some measurements, and then we'll get to that deserved writing sample. Be right back. Okay, so we're back for the writing sample. First of all, the ink. Well, I didn't want to rub it in, but I figure if it's going to be a Pelikan look-alike, let's see what this beautiful Edelstein Golden Lapis, this year's annual Pelikan edition ink. Beautiful bottle, beautiful ink. It's quickly become one of my favorite shimmer inks. Very usable, just a very, very nice color. The swatch of that ink, in case you don't know or have never seen it, here it is. So you could see it has a beautiful gold shimmer there, which really, really comes out in the handwriting as well. As you could see, Pelikan Edelstein Golden Lapis. So that's the ink. The paper is Galen leather notepad Tomoyo River. Okay, so here we go. We're all set. I'm going to cap this pen because I find it very, very comfortable and nice size when it's capped. So this is the Admok M400, or as some refer to J400. In the, I think they call it, it's a blue, but I forget, you'll see it in my introductory video, but I forget what they call it, but there's a particular name, but it's the one with the blue galaxy there. The nib is a Schmidt number 5 steel broad nib. The ink is the Pelikan sorry about that, Edelstein Golden Lapis. Now, the pen with this nib is a gusher. Very, very, very nice. Got to tell you, very constant. These Schmidt nibs make this pen look really, really good, if you know what I mean. Fast writing, just so smooth. Just a hint of feedback, but as you could see, follows very, very nicely. Does it have any line variation? It's got a little bit of a spring in it, but you know, it's bold as it is. You can get some line variation, I think, if you push it, but not meant to do, so I wouldn't do it. Reverse writing, some resistance, but if you have to do it, I guess can be done. Okay, so doable, although I just cringe at doing reverse writing with my nibs. Okay, so that takes us to the likes and the dislikes. Okay, likes, well, if you're going to imitate something, it's a good imitation. Although some would say that's a dislike as well, okay, because they're copying, okay? But it gets you to feel what an M400 feels like, or an M800, and eventually they'll come up with I'm really anxious to see if they ever come up with an M1000. So the build. Now, when we get to build, I want to make a correction. I'm not the greatest at the English language. I make mistakes. I speak Italian, I speak French, and I speak English. So I speak 3 languages, but I don't speak any of them perfectly. It should be build quality. It's built in. Built, it's not with a T, it's with a D. One of the viewers corrected me, and so he should have. So hopefully I won't make that mistake ever again. It's the build quality. I like it. Very, very well built. Okay. The nib, because it's that Schmidt nib, you know what? I can't give it anything but a 9.5. And even then, just because it's a number 5 size nib, but in and of itself, that nib is excellent. I would have preferred this pen with a number 6 sized nib, but there you go. I mean, it is proportional. The value, no, I would give it 5 on 10. I think it's somewhere, so it would probably be a dislike. I mean, I don't like the idea that I have to pay $50, $60 for a small, clearly an imitation. Yes, I understand. There's some nice materials there, and it's a good job at imitating, but to spend $60 is a little bit too much. And as I mentioned previously, I think Chinese pens now are getting more and more expensive, and I just hope that at one point that trend stops. But many of you have already stated that they've seen the same trend, that they don't see it stopping. I guess everything is more expensive these days, post-COVID inflation has, I guess, hit us all. But I've got a feeling that some of them are, or some people along the line from the supplier of materials right down to the vendor, somebody's abusing it, perhaps all of them. There you have it. In terms of dislike, no ink window could also be mentioned. But if you're looking for a nice pen and just can't afford or don't want to spend, 150, I don't know what an M400 goes these days for, perhaps even more Canadian, and want to have the feeling of a Pelican in your hands, well, I think this will do the job. So, all in all, I would say to you, had it not been for the price, I would strongly recommend this pen. Because in terms of writing experience and feel and build quality and all the rest of it, beautiful little pen. And, it's small, so it probably fits into a bag or into a sleeve very nicely. Almost a little bit of a pocket pen or a semi-pocket pen. So, if you can afford the $50, $60, I certainly will use it as a go-to pen. I've got to tell you, it's going to be very, very nice. So there you have it. That's the review. Let me just get up. Put the pen. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Very nice with the ink as well. So let me just... So there you have it, folks. The Admok M400 or the J400. Yes, an imitation, but I think a fine little pen. The price a little bit pricey, but other than that, I would strongly recommend it. Another Chinese Pelican. I know some of you frown upon that, but look, for those of us who would want to feel that Pelican feel, this is probably as close as you'll get to the real thing. So, grazie molto. Stay tuned. As I mentioned, there won't be any weekly recap during the period of the last one is July 21. I will be back August the 12th or around that time. So be expecting that weekly recap the following week. There you have it on the Sunday. So thank you very much. Grazie molto. And the next time we see each other, we'll be in a review. And in real live, it will be after my vacation. Okay? Grazie. Arrivederci.